Welcome everyone to Alpha Racing League. We are back again for round 12 USA. We're in America, and now we are back for tier 3. The championship for the drivers championship has been decided, but the constructors championship is not over just yet. Keep that in mind. Something I want to apologize for completely, which I know you guys are going to be talking about a lot. Oh, where's the screens? Where's the screens? Where's the screens? We'll talk about that in a moment, because Lightstream Studio is moving over to Twitch after Mixer shutting down at July 22nd. I want to welcome Sam Steed, my co-commentator today and head admin of the tier. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
Good, just make sure your audio is included.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, I want to go over some people, because there are some people back for the first time in a while, and there's a lot of guys who are gonna have a chance for a podium because it's a rain race. What do you know? I was gonna say the thing is about a lot of these guys. Data Lucas isn't here. Patriot moved up to tier 2 and is not competing for these Fountain races, meaning Racing Point are gonna have to do a lot with new driver Tommy Karate and Florian Foley. Tommy Karate making his first start in the league today. He has made starts over at GSR. Battled Nossman for the win. He can possibly take a good finish today, or even a podium out of this from his pace right now. It depends how it will be in the wet later on in this race. Ollie Mason returns as well for the first time since, I want to say, Hungary? Around that time frame of that area. He returned since then, and he's going to be back better than ever. He's in McLaren, he was in the Haas, and now he's changed. John Busy, one-shot quality he thought he had, but the thing is, the penalties do not carry over from week to week. It carries over from the next week. That's just it. Just 1 week. So this means John Busy, Aaron Ocon's brother, second time we get to see him in here. We also have King V Mafia as well. Making another start as well, I want to mention. A reserve for the first time in a while. I also want to mention as well, GSR Thrasher, a full-time ride for him. Right now it's a Toro Rosso 1-2. He had a podium in stake last season. It was going to be his podium in the first ever tier 2 race. Well, GSR Kaya kind of ended that chance for him. And we also have as well Titan Iron Wolf reserve for a different team, not just McLaren this week, it's Williams. Sam, is there anything interesting you want to bring up about the season so far of Tier 3, or anything interesting for this race that you think you have?
Well, from what I can remember, Ollie Mason's last start was in Australia on his debut, and he won there, so maybe watch out for him today.
If anything, I actually want to bring up something very interesting. He's the last driver to win on their debut. Tommy Karate is making his debut today. And he is a full-time driver now, so keep that in mind. Reese is hoping his V4 buddy Kimbo's crashes. Okay. You know, I mean, I wouldn't like to see anyone crash, but I mean, if that's you, that's you. I mean, go with it. Not much of a V4 fan club at that point, but yeah. Anyways, you know, something interesting about COTA. Obviously, this is another race where we're gonna have track limits, a key factor about us talking about it. This is another race with track limits. We're gonna talk about it all day. Track limits, back and forth. Turn 19 S's. Everywhere else really is such a big problem at COTA with the track limits. Everyone complains, talks about it, whatever. Everyone talks about it. Sam, how big are track limits at COTA America?
I think there's only really two sections where it's pretty much on the entry of turn 19 and the S's, so if you can master them consistently, maybe just have one off lap or something, you may not get a penalty, but we'll see. It could be totally different today, but penalties could even decide the race. But then also with the wet weather, penalties are not a big thing.
Something I still find weird is that no graphics on the stream. I mean, I'm so used to switching screens, but now I'm not doing that. I'm just waiting to the top again right there, and I think everyone's happy to see a full quality screen because that's something people wanted, and I'm happy people get what they want, you know, with that. It's kind of what they need, I guess. But yeah, that's what I guess people want. Kimbo as well goes to third. Want to mention that, but there's still a constructors fight as well. There's not just that driver fight that's over now. Something that I find very interesting is that Williams 62 point back. They're gonna have to outscore Toro Rosso by, I want to say, 18 points today. They're gonna have to do a lot. They have a reserve in. Data Lucas couldn't make the race today. And then you have Red Bull 84 points back. The thing with Red Bull is that with them being that far back, they're going to have to do a lot with CJ Pants and Hissy. I'm sure a lot of people are running wet setups, from what I know, because it's a wet race. Hold up, am I seeing this right? Dominant Square, coming back, replacing Dylan Boy because he couldn't make this race. Ahead of Hissy, ahead of Sink, ahead of Mafia, ahead of Florian Foley, Burning Man, and John Busy. Dominant Square with a good performance so far in this qualifying session. Really impressive from him. I'm surprised I'm seeing that. And as well as his, I would say, not really championship rival, but his rival in league racing has now. I think Dominant Square is creating one. Aaron Ocon. Those two had a collision yesterday. I believe it was an LDRL. Am I right, Sam? Those two were battling, I know. I don't know if you were tuning in, but
yeah, I think there was
two...
a collision. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I want to say there was. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head at this point. Anyways, yeah, Red Bull 84 points back. They're going to have to outscore by, I want to say, they're going to have to outscore by about 40 points. They have to do a lot. They have to have Toro Rosso to have a bad day. And Racing Point to keep their fight alive. What they need to do now to tie things up. Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso. Let's see this. 1, 2, 3, 4 wins. Racing Point have had 2. Yeah, so it cannot be 45 points. If Toro Rosso has it 45 points, they can outscore Racing Point. They need to outscore Racing Point by 3 points. Toro Rosso do, in order to make this interesting. And the championship to be decided today. That's what they need to do. So it should be interesting to see how it goes. Luke B in the Mercedes here. I was just talking to Polo about Irish driver combo in a Mercedes. I mean, he kind of just won a race with that. Can Luke B do the same thing today? It'd be pretty interesting to see if that would work. But I want to mention as well, some guy, internet problems. It's been the way it has been for Sync. But he is up to 3rd right now. He's doing very well in this qualifying session so far. So Sam, talk to me about overtaking opportunities at this racetrack, because overtaking opportunities are a big factor. Talk to the streamer about that, because I'm going to have to be right back quickly.
Well, I think that there are quite a few overtaking opportunities around this track. It's a lot better than others, so you have pretty much the whole section from the long straight in Sector 2 to the start of Sector 3 at that weird acute corner. You also have T1 and right before the long straight in Sector 2, so there's quite a few overtaking opportunities, and you can have a lot of side-by-side battling around here. But Kimbo's is going very slowly on track. Okay.
I'm back, by the way. So, Burning Man coming to the line. Improves ahead of Titan Iron Wolf right there in his lap. Zig Starburst actually left the session. If you can get him back in here, Sam, that'd be great.
Okay. Someone's crashed into the pit lane.
I don't think that'll be the first time.
That's an F.
Right?
No, I think maybe in the wet, because some people may misjudge their braking on the transition point.
Mafia up to 7th, but keep in mind, I think everyone's using a wet setup here. Keep that in mind. Yeah, Zig is back. That's good for him, because he is down to 17th, doesn't have a lap, and nowhere does Luke B.
Some people have said that they might be running a dry setup in quali and then up the wings in the race, which I'm not too sure about, because from what you told me in your race that you did to see the conditions, it's like raining at the end of lap 1, so
yeah.
If the majority of the race is going to be wet, I would go with a wet setup.
I actually did a practice session with Davis and Thrasher as well, because they needed me to help them with getting better at the track. The thing is, well, clearly that's helped, but the thing is, it actually started in that race raining around like lap 5, lap 6, which was weird, because in Grand Prix mode, I gone into Grand Prix mode, it started raining around, I want to say lap 1, when it was lap 1, sector 3, but then whenever we went into multiplayer mode with me, Davis, Thrasher, it rained at like lap 5, lap 6. It wasn't enough for the wet tires, but it looked like in the Grand Prix mode it was maybe just barely enough at the very end. So it's kind of weird. It could be going either way with the way this race goes. We don't know if, I mean, it could rain between anywhere on lap 1 to lap 6, or not even at all, who knows. This could be another British Grand Prix as well, Sam, which we knew about. Yeah, that's not nice lies, I'm serious. That's actually what happened. It started raining, but it wasn't as hard. The rain throughout the end of the race got very heavier and heavier as well. Zig Starburst has left the session again.
Akimbo's goes up to P3.
Oh, good. Got him.
I'm sure Reese would be too happy with that.
Well, I mean, the Williams team is going to need to do a lot to get the Constructors Championship. We got a minute left in qualifying so far. A few people on their outlaps. Thrasher, I want to keep in mind, I want to remind people of the Tier 2 race last season. Davis had not so good of a race. This was back when he was in full traction. And as well, Axe is like, may I ask how Square has done that lap? Yeah, good job by him. He's improved a ton. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of people in this league and just in general who are new to F1, I would say just in general from when I race with people, Akimbos, Davis, Hissy as well, Mafia as well. I mean, there is many, even CJ Pants, I want to actually include him, Aaron Ocon, just to mention that. There's been so many people who've improved, and this is not good. The two Toro Rosso drivers, I think, are near each other right here. It's Thrasher and Davis, both on laps. They're right near each other.
That's not very ideal, but
wait, is he giving a tow? He's giving a tow! Just gave Davis a tow right there. That's smart.
Square was 4.5 tenths up in the first section, and he's now 7 tenths up in the middle.
Aaron Ocon goes 9th fastest, excuse that. And coming to the line as well, there's a Mercedes, that's Sync C1 as well, coming to the line in his Mercedes, driving for Beatnik, is going to get that lap in. Now behind that, there's Tommy Karate, I believe. No, that's someone else. That's Floyd Foley, actually, in the Racing Point. Just behind him is the Renault. I believe that's Dominant Square as well. Dominant Square goes 8th fastest. He goes faster than Aaron Ocon, and Davis goes a second faster than anyone else. And they actually might try to do the tow again with Davis and Thrasher. Yeah. They might actually try to do the tow again with Davis and Thrasher. They might try to do it one more time. Keep in mind, Toro Rosso, if they get a pole point, that gap in points is 43 points. One less point that Racing Point don't have to worry about. Well, do have to worry about. As well, Ollie Mason, Hissy, Kimbos, all complete the checkered flag, along with Luke B, Zig, Burning Man. Behind that, there's a Red Bull, I believe that's Crash. That is CJ. And as well, that's a Racing Point. Behind that, Tommy Karate, 2 tenths down in his Racing Point. Where does he go? Not any faster as well. Tyron Iron Wolf in the Williams is going to pit, maybe got invalid. But behind that, there's the Alfa Romeo, Aaron Ocon, a 10th down. Exceeding the track limits, actually going to pit right here.
Sink is a second up, so we could see him challenge Davis here in this session.
See a little bit of lag there from Sink. That's something that's not been fixed. We'll have to figure that out. Sink coming into the final few corners for the final time. Extends the track. That might be invalid. It was invalid, but it would have been pole.
No, it would have been pole. He was 1.5 seconds up, so I think we can see someone that can challenge Davis today. Square's also on the lap again, but he does come into the pits.
Florian Foley might go just a little bit faster. Yes, he does. Anyways, it's Thrasher coming to the line. He out invalid. He is actually going to be P2. It's Toro Rosso, a 1-2, a front row lockout. The 4th front row lockout, and the 2nd in the last 7 days. And Luke kept going invalid. I'm hearing from Kagoda, his brother. The largest pole gap in ARL history, over a second there. Davis gets the pole position.
That's probably not exactly representative. Sink had a very good lap under his belt, but did validate in the final corner. So I think that's not exactly how the race will be. I think it will be a lot closer, and Thrasher obviously didn't improve. So I think a few drivers here have a lot of pace left in them, and Hissy underperforming in P7. I think we can see a lot more out of him in the race.
Yep, and especially in the rain. Davis, Thrasher on the front row. Kimbo's third. Sink. Tommy Karate round out the top 5. Ollie Mason, Hissy, Square actually in his best qualifying result yet. King V Mafia, Aaron O'Connor round out the top 10. Bianchi, H2O Snail, just 2 guys outside the top 10, just to name, who are big names, as well as Florian Foley and CJ Pants as well. Alright, well, that was an interesting qualifying session. 1.2 seconds up it was by, I believe that I want to say that was Davis out of Thrasher it was, and you can see how much more cloudier it is at the racetrack. And I want to also mention as well, Zig Starburst actually is in the session, if I'm correct. I believe that's the way it is. Now,
Yeah,
Thrasher, I'm gonna remind you guys, Thrasher is actually looking for redemption for a podium after last season. And especially after last week as well. Binning it. That's what not he needed. That's not what he needed. English at its best with me. Gotta love it. We'll have to find out what goes on here for the start. No problem. So we're just waiting on Zig Starburst. I knew something was gonna go wrong.
He's probably gonna have to leave.
I'm gonna have to leave and rejoin. Oh, great.
Probably won't make it then at this time if it was.
Yep.
Zig's not on the grid.
Not gonna make it. Yep, not gonna make it. Alright, so
oh, it started to rain, I think. It's already started to rain.
It already has. Yeah. Look at this.
It just started as the formation.
There you go.
The thing.
There you go. See, I told you I was not lying. I mean, F1 driver. I mean, all right. Well, 3 favorites from you, Sam C, on the grid. Who are your 3 favorites in this race that you're looking at?
I think Sink. He showed he had probably the pace to beat Davis in quali, but he did invalidate. So penalties may be a problem for him. Davis obviously starting from P1, and I'm going to say dominant square. Let's see what his race pace will be like in these wet conditions here at COTA.
Well, you got one more person he can get.
Oh, one more person. Luke B down in 60. Very low for him.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what happens with him. Could go with his brother. Alright, so I'm going to go through some favorites myself. I'm actually going to go with Davis on pole. I think that's a clear favorite. You have to go with him. 1.2 second gap in quali. You know, I mean, Toro Rosso 1-2 for them. An amazing qualifying session by them. Completely dominating, smashing out the field all they could. Great job by Davis. He already has 3 wins, trying to go for 4 wins. He's got to go for those wins if he wants the Constructors' Championship today, because Racing Point are very low in the grid. They can easily take advantage of them. Thrasher and the Toro Rosso starts down in second. The thing is with Thrasher, side by side with Davis, how does he get the run off the line? It's starting to rain. Remember, I actually helped Thrasher. If you saw me on Time Trial earlier today, I helped Thrasher with where to push, where to not, where to go, where to do the right thing on this track. That's what he's gonna have to take into consideration today. And I also want to go down in 7th. We saw in Hungary with Hissy in these wet conditions, in a wet to dry race, Hissy was in contention for the win. Hissy could be in contention for the win today, right now. P7. Well, good starts by Dominant Square as well. I want to give a shout out to him. 8th and Burning Man 13th. Better of the midfield back marker drivers, I want to say. Anyways, here we come for the 5 red lights pretty soon. Starting to rain here in COTA.
It's quite rapidly coming down.
Well, 5 red lights upon us. Can we make it past turn 1? Considering the last few weeks, here we go in COTA. The lights are about to go out. It's lights out and away we go. Davis gets an amazing start. Tommy Karate side by side with the Kimbos. They're about to go 4 wide there into turn 1. We make it into turn 1 this time compared to the last few weeks. Thrasher goes down the inside. Clean past turn 1. They're 4 wide in the back. Hissy gets past there and around he goes. Contact from Square. There goes Hissy around. And lagging inside of each other. Burning Man goes past GSR Raptor, but toward the front of the field, struggling in these conditions. King V Mafia trying to get by Dominant Square. Behind, or ahead of that, Kimbos has got past and down to 5th, but Sync C1 is up to 2nd from 4th place on the grid.
I think Hissy's going to have to risk it onto Inters at this stage, because it's coming down quite rapidly, to be honest. It's not like a slow start to the rain.
Damn, my cursor is one of my favorites. Anyways, King V Mafia goes by Dominant Square for position. 7th and 8th trading positions right there. CJ Pants goes by Aaron Ocon, and they're going to go side by side down into Sector 3. Aaron Ocon's going to go ahead. Tommy Karate getting passed by GSR Thrasher. One more time again. He does. Ollie Mason running back in 6 as well. Remember, it was the darker conditions in Australia that he took the win. It's one of the more darker conditions today. Dominant Square running an amazing position as well right now on that first lap. Incident free. CJ Pants passed Aaron Ocon. If Red Bull want to get by Williams in the Constructors' Championship, CJ Pants and Hissy need to do a lot.
Thrasher dives in.
There you go. And actually, penalties by Aaron Ocon and someone else there. Davis gets the fastest lap. But I want to mention, yellow flags, that is John Busy, Aaron Ocon's brother, who spun around. GSR Bianchi and Tire Niner Wolf going side by side into turn 1. A little bit of lag right there between the two. And already on the inners is Thrasher. Thrasher taking the gamble.
I think that could be a good decision from Thrasher there, to be honest, because the rain's coming down quite heavily and there's already rain.
Oh!
And Thrasher has left. Okay. I'll give him an invite.
Out. And with all this, let's go look at the positions gained. 6 positions for Luke B, 7 for Raptor and H2O, 4 for Bianchi, 3 for CJ Pants, 2 for King Mafia and Dominant Square, and there's a yellow flag. It's him into a wall again. Thrasher's actually joined back right now. This is not helping whatsoever for Toro also in the Constructors' Championship. And there's a safety car. And now do you pit or not?
I think
Thrasher's still not back in the session, and his car is going extremely slow. He's for sure going to be far behind. Now, Red Bull in this Constructors' Championship might have just got saved to be ahead of Williams. They have 2 more weeks to go. We have 1 more week to the finale at Brazil. Safety car already in this race. Yeah, I'm thinking you have to box. You know, you have to pit at this point. The conditions are only going to get worse.
Starting to look like it, to be fair. It's quite damp. I think this is save some of the drivers who struggle into these conditions, maybe. There's a lot of spray coming up from Hissy, so is that a sign that it probably was going to be into this lap?
I'm looking on Thrasher as well. Yeah, you can see some spray as well. Yeah, it's definitely inner time. And Akimbos is out of the session at the pit lane straight.
No, oh
Missing
no.
the brakes. Oh my, I knew it would happen. You called it, Sam. You called it. You said it well. Yeah, you have to go for inners, but Thrasher might be the big gambler here. After losing out in this session, if anything, he'd probably be down in 10th right now. Where is he going to be coming out of the pits? Not going to be in the best position, but after lagging out, he's going to be 5th.
P5.
Not bad for him.
Bear in mind, Thrasher already has a penalty from lap 1 on multiple warnings.
John Busy taking a pit stop here. He's actually got the... Is that the soft tires he's got? He's putting on the softs. John Busy putting on the softs. That's not going to work, will it? I don't know. That's not going to work. No way that is. No way that
He'll
is.
probably have to come in next lap. Because there'll probably be another 1 or 2 laps onto the safety car, but yeah, it's definitely Inters.
I'm not trying to sound biased. I'm going to sound very as well. Yeah. Now, I'm saying it, Axe. I don't care. I was going to say, I want to actually give a huge shout out to Dominant Square. You know, no matter if he has a bad race today or something bad, he can be happy about his start. And especially with the competition in this field, getting ready for if there's a Tier 4 next season. If there's a Tier 4, there's some drivers in here that I think right now would probably be in that. And Dominant Square, I'm telling you right now, he's doing very, very well in this race. Already 6th place and gained a lot of positions from the start. He could be on for a top 5 here. And maybe even his best finish. He has to be better than 10th for his best finish. But Sam, do you see it's possible or no?
Yeah, I definitely see it, but we're going to see how everyone's going to do in these wet conditions. It's totally different, but Square has had an amazing start to the race.
He has, and he's got to just find a way around and not to have any trouble. Anyways, Ollie Mason as well, up to a good position. I want to remind everyone, if I'm correct here, I believe there's been 17 different drivers in the podium this season. If I'm correct from last week, what I saw on stream. I don't know if you could check, but I think there's 17 different drivers on the podium this season. Sink and Tommy Karate being in the podium right now.
John
that'd be
Busy
19.
is struggling. I think that's
Unsurprisingly.
expected.
Unsurprisingly. But yeah, we get the race resumed with a safety car. I think this is what we needed, to be fair. After, props to these drivers. Fair, clean start in these conditions. Hissy was the only one who went around as well. John Busy at the second to last corner. And then the safety car, of course. Fair play to these drivers. Very clean start by them. Hopefully, we can keep it this way.
I think this safety car could help the heavy rain conditions come nearer. So, I don't know, especially the fact that it started light rain right as the formation lap started. So,
yeah.
We could have heavy rain any moment, really. I don't know.
Yeah, so keep in mind, yeah, don't say that, Jay Riley. That's a curse right there. I was going to say, keep in mind, with these conditions, when I practice and do these conditions, I mean, we talked about last night, Sam, you know, this is the perfect conditions to do. This might actually help him. Burning Man, a 5-second penalty for him. The thing is that I was going to say is that, when I did the practice with Thrasher, Davis, and them, and then by myself in GP mode, the thing is, just in general, the people who practice, or at least that I know, I didn't put a formation lap on when I did that. So now we've got this with the formation lap on, and now you got it raining. And Mafia's actually got a 5-second penalty for colliding with Aaron Ocon under the safety car.
How does that work, even though he's been hit from behind? Okay. The game teaches me different things every day.
Whoa, Thrasher almost hit Ollie
Thrasher
Mason right there.
hit.
Yeah, that was pretty close. And Dominant Square as well behind that, and Mafia as well, who are behind that, have to avoid that. Safety car is in this lap this time. We're resuming back to racing. Davis is going to have to wait to go. When does he go on the safety car restart? So the racing to be resumed pretty soon. Davis kind of backing up the pack a little bit. Can't really go anywhere because of the safety car. Now remember, these wet conditions don't spin out of the lead, of course. Don't spin out of any position you're in because it's so easy to do so. Sink and Tommy Karate running at a good position right now. Davis kind of just waiting to go, waiting for that safety car to come in. He's kind of backing up the pack again. Terry Nirewolf has actually got to catch up to the field. He's slowing Hissy and the rest of the field down. Yeah, he's in AI actually. And Molly Mason's got a time penalty for colliding with Tommy Karate. And now Davis is on the gas. Back to the restart we go. Off turn 19, we're back racing again at USA. Off the front corner, they gotta not slide the tires. Off goes
I think
Mafia.
the rain might be heavy already.
It is getting heavier.
Sure.
Heavier by the minute. Here comes Aaron Ocon. 3 wide into turn 1. CJ Pants, Aaron, Mafia. Aaron's gonna dive down the inside. He's gonna cut right in front of CJ. H2O and Bianchi battling as well, but side by side between CJ and Mafia. Mafia around the outside is keeping that car just going ahead. And through the S's, there's a yellow flag. That's Luke B. A second lead already for Davis, but Thrasher has to get by these guys if he wants to make it a Toro Rosso 1-2. And Aaron Ocon is spun out. Aaron Ocon is spun from the 9th position, I think that was 8th or 9th, one of the two, and the Mercedes of Luke B does go by that, but behind that, GSR Bianchi trying on CJ Pants, it's going to go down the inside here at the hairpin. He's going to try to go through, side by side still again, and CJ's just ahead now.
Raptor's looking for a move on H2O Snail onto the straight, and he might get it under brakes. He's already got past, but we'll see what happens into the corner. And he does get the job done.
That all happened. People might be trying to appeal that at the end of the race as well. The 5-second penalties, you don't need the race director for. You just don't need to serve it in a race with a full safety car and stuff like that. So that's what you gotta have happen. CJ almost clipped the back of Mafia right there, I saw, but Bianchi goes around the outside there.
Square's already got a massive gap behind. It's 3 seconds already.
When he was in the Hungary practice with me and some of the Renault guys. He was doing very well at Hungary when he practiced for the wet there, and he qualified very well. Let's remember that as well. Ollie Mason, Thrasher, all within a second range of each other. DRS is not enabled because there's rain, of course, but we have 4 tenths, 5 tenths the gap between them. The Yankee's gonna go by Mafia right here into turn 1. Mafia still sticking around the outside, can't stick it anymore. Now, Burning Man goes by Hissy as well. Hissy down the inside, almost spins himself, gets himself into a half spin, but Burning Man goes through. And now Thrasher's close up to this gap as well, while Tommy Karate is close up to the gap in front of him with Sync. And now pulling away is Davis 2.5, and Mafia is spun at the X out of the S's.
Some people are really struggling in these conditions, and I don't blame them. This is difficult, especially the S's. If you've gone with a dry setup, you're really going to struggle.
4 tenths the gap again between Thrasher and Ollie Mason, 7 tenths as well. F1 driver, I was going to talk about that for a minute after stream, especially for next season plans. But anyways, 8 tenths the gap between Ollie Mason, Tommy Karate again. Ollie Mason, this would be his first podium without a win if he got the podium. But Davis already pulling that gap 2.7 in front of Sync already. Burning Man fully.
Almost hit.
Oh, there's a bit of contact again there. That's actually Burning Man there. And Hissy is going to go around the outside of him. Going to go through right there. Hissy goes through, but Florian Fully might charge back at this around the outside. No, he won't. But Hissy was close to Burning Man right there. That was close.
Thrasher's struggling a bit. He went wide at the Istanbul S corner of like turn 18. I don't know if
John busy.
It's even longer. Ooh.
He's stuck in the barrier, but his brother Aaron O'Con goes through, watching that happen. It's not been a good race from the O'Callahans.
Yes, not very great from them, especially the Irish too. Got Luke B in 16th, Aaron O'Con in 17th, and John busy in 18th.
And he spun again, I think. Around.
Yes, he has.
Hissy down the inside of Burning Man into turn 1. I think Hissy might still have damage. Yes, he does actually. And they're side by side again, heading through turn 2. A bit of contact there.
This is not going to end well. Someone's got to. Yep, and Hissy did let Burning Man go, but he's struggling into the S's.
As well as I want to mention, Sync just picked up a penalty right there. That's not what he needs in this battle for P2 right now for his first podium. Almost had it last week after the penalty with Patriot. Almost had it, but obviously the lag, the connection, all that, set it back. All changed all that. And now Hissy was making a move, or looking to make a move actually, but couldn't get it done. And Thrasher has actually lost time to the cars in front. Disconnecting didn't help Thrasher for a podium at all. He's not going to get his redemption, it looks like, today. And yeah, Raptor is Irish as well. Raptor, only Irish driver inside the top 10. You have 4 Irish drivers in this race. I was going to mention. Again, contact between the Red Bull and Ferrari. Hissy almost went around there, but Burning Man charging back out. A bit more contact between those two. If they keep it up, Hissy might have more damage, or Burning Man might actually have more damage, or even damage in general. Now, Burning Man trying to switch it back. He's going to go through. He's still side by side with Hissy. He tried.
This is a great battle, but he's going to back out because
hold
in
up,
the web,
around the outside. Right at turn 18 to turn 19. No, I thought it was just going to work.
That was a great job, and he gets a penalty.
H2O Snail as well, right in front of him, also picked up a penalty as well. And these drivers need more practice in the wet, so much contact. Agree with that one, Kagoda.
I think it's heavy rain.
It's getting close to it, for sure. Yeah, it's just about.
It very much looks like it.
Well, the thing is, in my GP mode, as Hissy makes a move on H2O switching back. I was gonna say, whenever I did in the Grand Prix races, Sync picks up another penalty. I was gonna say, when I did the Grand Prix races, when I raced them, I was gonna mention, heavy rain was toward the end and toward this area. I was gonna want to say it was lap 10 without the formation lap, but no, it was not enough for anyone to pit to wets. So yeah, and nice to mention Renault 6.9. Yeah, I guess so, Max. I love reading these check comments. But now H2O struggles. Here comes Hissy down the inside. He's gonna dive it back down. H2O trying for the switchback again. Not gonna work that time. Hissy's through.
one of the front guys could maybe risk the wets at some point, because the gap from Raptor to King V Mafia is massive, so one of them could maybe make a risk, but I'm not sure if it'll work. We'll see. As the laps go on, they may struggle even more.
Yeah, I want to mention, I think Kagoda just mentioned this, because I know Kagoda always focuses on his brother in Tier 3. Luke B still has wing damage, and so does Hissy as he hits the back of Florian Fully there. Hissy and Luke B both have damage, and Thrasher's actually pitting right now. He might be trying out the wets just in case Davis might need it, because, remember, those two are Toro Rosso drivers, and those two I know are in a party for sure. Does he go to wets? We're going to have to see. But Luke B with damage and Hissy with damage, still in this pack of cars. H2O Snail, a penalty, but does Thrasher go to the wets? He does!
I think the line is too dry, but it is starting to get there, because off the line this water is starting to keep up, and Titan Arnold for the 5-second time penalty.
This isn't too key for Thrasher.
He leaves the session again. I think the pit lane is cursed for him, to be honest.
Yeah, just don't panic for Thrasher. Just qualify yourself, I guess. Yeah, what is it with this racetrack in him? Because he had some struggles here, Tier 2, and now he's having struggles again today. I guess I'm cursing him. But notice how the wet tires off the AI were semi keeping up with Hissy, and semi kind of keeping up with him for the time being. John Busy got another penalty. Luke B has spun again with damage.
Offline is very wet, so I think people could start coming in maybe very soon. We'll see on this lap.
Thrasher's joined back again. Burning Man's got by. I want to keep in mind Burning Man, he's actually had a great race so far. Didn't really get anything off of luck, but yeah, Sync saying very slippy from what Kagoda's saying, because I know Kagoda gets into parties with them in races, so good feedback from Kagoda right there. But no, speaking about Burning Man, he had a great race back in, oh my god, he almost missed him, or almost hit him. I was going to say, he had a good race back in Britain in these conditions, got a P9, his best ever league racing result. If anyone goes to wets and messes it up just like they did in Britain, can Burning Man take advantage?
Yeah, maybe. I think he's quite good with these, and I'm thinking maybe next lap or the end of lap 10 or the end of lap 11 people may come in, but is it too late? I'm not sure. The advantage might be quite big, and people may be making a lot of mistakes, and there's a lot of standing water off track.
Aaron O'Connor, 5-second penalty for him, but I want to look at Thrasher because he's on the wet tires. How do these wet tires compare to the inners? Yeah, for me in the Grand Prix mode, at this point in the race, it wasn't too much of a difference for me with this type of conditions, but on the straightaways right here, as you can see, Thrasher gaining into turn 1, the more straight line. Yup, there you go. Off the corners, he's going to dive down the inside this time at turn 1. He's going to go through, but side by side again with Florian Foley. Bit of contact. Thrasher goes through. King Mafia behind Hissy as well. And I know how much Hissy loves his Monaco wet weather. He does no traction, does no ABS, does nothing, does no assist. So I know Hissy loves his kind of conditions. And we were actually having fun yesterday in a lobby for Red Bull team practices. Luke B gets a penalty, and Sync is actually passed by Tommy Karate. They're side by side now. Tommy Karate goes through, and his first start. But I was going to mention,
we're on the outside as well.
I know how much Hissy loves the wet weather, especially from Hungary, and as well as there's no traction and no ABS practice, because John was in that lobby with us, not John Busy, John 111, was in the lobby with us, and was practicing some no traction, no ABS, because I believe he's wanting to switch something off one of the assists for F1 2020.
I wouldn't be surprised if some people dive in. It's very heavy now, and someone may make that risk.
Thrasher goes by Burning Man right there. You can see the difference in traction, but this is against people who are, I'd say, a second slower than Thrasher, usually per lap. So, I mean, this is tough to tell. And the thing is, it was so tough to tell for me as well, because when I was actually in these races, in the practice sessions, when we go into wets as well, when I try to go to wets, when I did these practice races for wet conditions, the thing is, you could tell the difference between the wet tires and the inners. At this time in the race, it was pretty even between wets and inners. It was pretty even between them. You could see the conditions are way worse, but it's not a time enough, as Thrasher's actually going to go down the inside of H2O. H2O is actually going to let him by here, I think. And Florian fully goes down the inside of Burning Man. Contact, H2O spun around.
I mean, maybe someone could take the risk, maybe like a sink or something, because there's a massive gap for them. But Davis could even make the risk, because he'd probably come out in P8, maybe.
Around that area for sure. Well, CJ Pants has passed Raptor back. There's another yellow flag. That's actually H2O Snail, who spun there with a missing front wing. VSC.
Virtual safety car. Is anyone going to dive in?
Yeah. Do you pit for wets now? Because where Davis is out, you can get a free pit stop. Do you pit for wets? Is it enough? Because look how much it's raining. This should be the first time we've had a heavy rain race since I want to say back in Tier 2. And John Busy's got a drive-through penalty.
I think Davis could come in, to be honest.
It's a tough decision for him.
It might be worth it.
It's a tough decision. Does he do it? It's a big question. He might do it. No. Does not.
No.
Burning
Does
Man,
Tommy
5
Karate?
seconds. Sink
No.
does.
Sink.
This is interesting. This is interesting. He pits. Bianchi's gonna stay out, actually. Bianchi drive through.
Bianchi speeds.
And Dominant Square
slow.
is now gonna take advantage of him while Sink goes to wets. We're gonna actually pay attention to Sink in a minute. But Thrasher and Mafia for position there, they were trying it. Raptor trying to get on CJ Pants as well. Sink is going to come out of the pits behind Dominant Square, behind CJ, behind Raptor. And Thrasher is by Mafia, who is going to pit and is going to miss the corner. Into Thrasher. There he goes. Oh, he knows he messed that one up. He knows he messed that one up. Yeah. Yeah. That was a mistake. So now that Bianchi's got a drive-through penalty, I'm curious to see...
Square into net P4.
Yeah. And now Tommy Karate, instead of being Sink and battling him, I was going to say Tommy Karate is actually in a position where he's in clean air. And now look at how much Sink is actually getting on CJ Pants here. Look at this. Sink is challenging these guys.
But Sink has like 6 seconds of penalties, and you may get even more. And I think some of these guys don't even have any, so maybe near to the end they could gain some positions.
H2O pits, John Busy pits. Sink is going to go down the inside. Side by side still with CJ. Sink is going to go ahead on those wet tires. And the two teammates of Renault. Raptor goes by Dominant Square. Dominant Square getting passed by Sink as well. Side by side. And Sink diving down the inside. Raptor switching back. Dominant Square, 3 warnings, actually 4 warnings for him, some for collisions probably. But Raptor struggling there. You just saw him sideways just for a moment, and the gap between Tommy Karate and Davis has stayed even, and Square gets a penalty. I just kind of cursed him. Wow. Wow.
Bianchi's in for his drive-through.
Yeah.
This is not ideal for his race.
Mafia, while Aaron O'Connor is behind them. Mafia's actually left the session. I don't know if that was
what he did in Singapore.
Yeah, that's why I assumed that at first. Sink is losing grip. If race was longer, he would be in a great position. Yeah, I could tell from right now. Look at how much he's getting on Ollie Mason right now.
He's sliding.
Sideways. Look at that. That is close. And so does Raptor. Raptor goes off the track in front of Square. I don't know if I'm seeing a pattern or not, but the bonfires over here, Axe, I see on time trial, I see in general all the time how good Axe is in the wet condition. You know, if anything, if out of drivers in the wet conditions, I have to rate him probably 4th on the list out of Tier 1 drivers. Axe ran up there on the podium position in Singapore. Dominant Square is in the wet conditions. Look where he's running. Florian Foley is just spun right now out of the S's, and Luke Beast picked up a penalty. Yeah, so Sink is kind of keeping that gap pretty even. It's enough to gain for wets, but it's not enough to pass for wets unless your name is Thrasher. But Thrasher really unlucky by lagging out. And the two teammates, Dominant Square and Raptor, again close to each other. Same with CJ and him, but Tyrant Ironwolf and Aaron Ocon as well, close to one another. Tyrant Ironwolf is actually in AI. And yeah, Raptor, P19 to P5, and that is Florian Foley off the racetrack. No front wing.
As it stands, Raptor could get a sync of penalties because he has 6 seconds. So he needs to keep 2 seconds within that time.
Sync there as we reach the final lap for the final time of the race. And off of turn 1, that is someone, I swear, so John Busy, that is. Off of turn 1, reversing. Reversing? Okay.
Interesting.
I want to check penalties. I've never checked penalties between guys. Raptor, 2 warnings for him. Sync has the 2 penalties, so in fact, not just Raptor can get him, so can Dominant Square. Thrasher getting in Hissy, not enough for him, but there's a Renault. No, that's a John Busy actually out. I thought that was a Renault. That's Renault and Haas.
Sync struggled to get into the S's. He's really struggling. He's pushing quite hard, I think. He's sideways again. He's pushing really hard.
Fully. Yeah, you can tell
sliding
Sync really wants to get ahead of these guys, and he cannot afford another penalty because that's 9 seconds out to do his time. Remember, Dominant Square also has the penalty that he has right there as well. Sync actually has 3. Yeah, he has way too many warnings. So another warning gets Sync another penalty. Yeah, the thing is, you know, I mean, Singapore was such a wet race at the start, but this is dry to wet, really. Davis going for the 4th win of the season, most wins in the Tier 3 season, excuse me. Thrasher goes by Hissy in the final lap. Sync, you can tell he's pushing for sure. And Aaron O'Con gets a 3-second time penalty, so does Florian Foley, and someone else, I believe, as well right there. Heading through the final 2 turns right now. Davis coming through the final few turns. It's the Constructors' Championship that they need for Toro Rosso today. The pull point mattered. Davis off the final corner. 4th win for Davis, and the Constructors' Champions are Toro Rosso. Davis wins it in America. His home Grand Prix, a home 1-2 for Tommy Karate and Davis.
Sync, he's made a mistake in the final corner. Could this cost him for P4? I don't know. Raptor goes off, so...
And speaking of that, Dominant Square,
sideways.
First top 5. No, CJ takes it actually.
CJ really struggled into the final sector. I'm not sure. He could have got P5, but CJ was sideways into the final corner. It's a crazy race.
CJ up to 5th, but a good result from the Renault team. 4th and 6th for Dominant Square and Raptor. Well, we had no one disqualified, so I'm happy about that at least. Only 3 DNFs, not bad in the question. And Ollie Mason, another podium for him, but keep the applause going for Dominant Square. Aaron O'Con and Tyrant Nightwolf. Aaron O'Con might get beat by the AI here on track. Aaron O'Con goes by, cuts the corner. And yeah, there you go, 5 seconds for them. But Tyrant Nightwolf goes by. Keep the applause going though for the Renaults. 4th and 6th from them. They started 8th and 19th. Impressive by them, especially considering Dylan Boyd's not here. Impressive by the Renault team. But Davis, congratulations to you on Toro Rosso and Renault today with their runs. But Toro Rosso, Constructors Champions, and with your win.
Thank you. Oh my god. Woo! Square, I can't believe you're top 5. I'm so happy for him.
Top 6 there.
I told him. I told him if he got 2nd, I was gonna let him go. I was gonna let him buy and let him win.
Oh my god. Well, in your first, in Tommy Karate's first start, top 3, and now that is 18 different guys on the podium this season. Just gonna check the race directors from some people. I know people might want it.
I let everyone.
Just gonna check it from a few people. I think you did. Might go for the most laps of this season, maybe.
Who got the fastest lap point?
I think it was you.
I want to find that out. Yeah. It might have been you. Yeah, it was you. Unless Thrasher got it.
Yeah, the wet conditions on lap 1.
I pushed so hard.
There's a glitch with Sync though. Sync screen said P4, but probably due to some of the lag and some stuff, he is down in P7. Was this due to a disconnect or something? I'm not too sure. We'll have to find out though.
People keep saying
anyways, congratulations to people. Yeah, he was. I could tell. But not as bad as last week though, so that's a good point. All right, well, I gotta speak to you guys. Make sure your audio is included. That's the win. That's the dub. Toro Rosso.
On track this
4th
time.
win of the season. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Want to mention these wet weather races. You didn't do as well in Britain, but you won your first race in the wet conditions. You now win your home race here. How do you feel about that? Make sure your audio's included.
It feels pretty good. Turn 1, I was just hoping I didn't get taken out in turn 1. Almost spun in like 2 times. I surprisingly only got 1 warning the whole race, even though when we did that practice session earlier, I got like 9 seconds of penalties. But it feels good winning at my home track and on track this time, and the first my first win in the wet.
Now, 4th win of the season in Tier 3. No one can take that from you because Chevy Giant's not racing, Patriots not racing. Keep in mind as well, who else is it? I thought that was someone else. But those guys aren't racing. So you could take Brazil pretty easy, Davis. And you guys, Toro Rosso, are Constructors Champions. How do you feel about that for the season? For the season you guys had?
It's pretty nice. I didn't think we were gonna get it today, but well, not today, but like the whole season, because I was not good at the beginning of the season. And my goal was to just get top 5 in like drivers and constructors. But when I was leading the race, I was asking what Florian Foley was because I didn't know if he was in points or not. And he was like 14th, I think he was, and he wrecked out. So I knew I had the race won. Well, not the race won, but I knew we had constructors won if I just didn't give up first place to Tommy. But it feels nice. I'm happy that we actually got a sub that didn't lag out this time, even though his game lagged a lot in pit road. He said when he went to pit, his screen turned black and it kicked him out. But yep, it feels good.
Got points finished out of that, so that's decent by him. Definitely not the podium redemption he'd want from last time of USA. But hey, congratulations on the win there, Davis. Your 4th one, and I want Sam, if you have any questions, to talk to him. To talk to Davis.
This is probably going to go to everyone. I'll ask everyone this question at some point. But what was it like on the intermediates in the heavy rain conditions?
Well, like lap 1 of the heavy rain and 2, it wasn't that bad, but later on in the run, like the back end, you can like feel this starting to step out a lot more. But I mean, I started driving the track a little bit more cautious in the S's because I almost spun out one time. But I mean, it's not that bad in my opinion. I was able to handle it pretty good, so I've stayed out because of it. Because I knew if I would have went to pit, I wouldn't have won.
Good job today. Great win from you.
Thank you.
Tommy Karate, you there?
Yep.
Hey, you making an American one too. I'm telling you right now. First start in this league, you could have done what Ollie Mason, who's on the podium with you, could have done what he did, which is the most recent person to do it, winning their first start. You drive for Racing Point for the last 2 races. How much did you prove to your team owner, GSR Axe, of what you can actually do for the team today, even though with a 2nd place finish, it's not the win?
Well, I hope that could be my, this is my proving ground race. We're just going to see how we have to do in Brazil next week. And that would I feel like, if I have a good finish there, then it's a pretty strong start going into the next game.
Yeah, a lot can change in that next game. We've mentioned that so many times before. A lot can go back and forth. A lot can go either way. A lot can happen. But tell me about the conditions, though, because changeable conditions, and your battle with Sink and Ollie Mason, Thrasher's up there. Tell me about the American 1-2 between you and Davis as well. How much that means to you guys.
I think it was a great race. Definitely, I was not expecting the rain to really fall lap 1 and lap 2. I was expecting it to come a little later in the race, but I think it still worked out pretty well with that safety car, kind of get everybody into the pits. Some double stacking with our team kind of held us up a little bit, but besides for that, I think it was a great race all around, and it's a really good one too.
Yeah, with you Americans, that's really cool to see. Congratulations on the podium and the P2 finish. Sam C, do you have any questions for Tommy Karate?
Same as what was it like in those near to the end of the race in those tough conditions? I saw quite a few people sliding and making some mistakes, especially in the S's. What was it like for you?
Yeah, through the S's, really, really tough to control. I tried to stay really cautious towards the end because the tires were starting to heat up a little bit when I was sliding. But besides for that, I just tried to keep it with no penalties. I had 2 warnings, so I had to drive super cautious. But I think, Davis was just really fast. I couldn't really catch up to him towards the end there, but I think it was great. I held the P2.
Great drive from you today and a great debut to show what you can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on the podium. Ollie Mason. Hey, how about a podium there? Your first race back. How do you feel about that? Make sure your audio's included.
Yeah, it felt good because I've only got my wheel yesterday, and I wasn't too confident going into it with the new wheel.
Well, tell me what this does for you next season and the next game. What your confidence is now.
Oh yeah, it's got better since Australia. It's got better in the rain as well due to the practice I'd done today, and just all round felt better in the S's than everyone else.
Well, then, talk to me about the conditions because it was back and forth. Obviously, sideways in the S's, like Tommy Karate mentioned. Tell me what you had to do to avoid any penalties from the game and just in general that you had or could have had in those S's because the S's are so tricky with penalties, and I'm sure you know that.
I got no warnings from the S's because I went into low ERS then if the car rotated more, and then the only time I got penalties when I went over the curb too much around warning around the last corner. So the S's are a pretty strong point for me the whole race.
So how do you take yourself into the final race here, Brazil, racing for McLaren, getting them a podium? I think Pluto, your team owner, who I believe you were in a party with earlier today, he's got to be happy about that one after the struggle he had with the team leadership change with Bama, changing that and the drivers he had picked. How do you feel about a podium for McLaren?
But yeah, he was happy with it. He told me to go careful in the last 2 laps because it could. And Tommy didn't have a penalty where I did for under the safety car, and then he was pretty happy with the podium.
Yeah, so congratulations on that P3 finish there.
Yeah, thanks.
Sam, do you have any questions for Ollie Mason?
This is not a question really, but it's great to see that you got used to the wheel quite quickly and up into that position. How much practice did you get in to get this position on your first proper day on the wheel?
Well, I got around 2 hours in on time trial and done a quick race on Grand Prix mode, and changed my assists to suit the rain.
Yeah, great drive, especially that it's your first proper race on wheel.
Yeah, thanks.
Dominic Square, you deserve an interview, I think, in my own opinion. I don't care if anyone calls it biased, but come on. I mean, you deserve an interview. Great finish. Great finish. Your best league racing result, obviously Sync's lag out or whatever happened, is still under, probably going to be a ticket that we'll have to look at. But for now, it's 6th place. Hey, I mean, you had your penalty that you had. I don't know if you're wanting to appeal any or not. I don't know if you're going to do that. But obviously, with that penalty, that cost you a chance at 4th, even 5th, just in general. You were so close to your first top 5. And make sure your audio is included. But I was going to say, people can't say it was luck like Italy, where the chaos happened. You got P10, boom. You know, people can't say it's luck. You actually drove amazingly well today and got your best league racing finish today, 6th. How do you feel about that?
I feel amazing. This was my first ever league race on wheel too, so I'm pretty amazed that I did this well. Of course, a lot of practice went into that, and I did not expect the rain to come that early. And on the formation lap, everyone in the party, we just burst into confusion, didn't know when we should pit now. So safety car came out, we pit under that, and I carried those all the way to the end, and yeah.
Hey, a great result for Renault, 4th and 6th for you and Raptor. Raptor from 19th on the grid.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your battle with Raptor. You know, you battled Raptor, you battled CJ,
I was
you
trying to
beat
let
some
him
of the
fly,
guys as well.
but I just couldn't.
I know,
But I was trying to
tell.
stay in front of CJ as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And they were right behind each other, so that was a little bit tough, but
Well, tell me how happy you are to beat some of the guys in Tier 3 who run here on a weekly basis, and you run here kind of on a part-time schedule. You don't run here full-time all the
Yeah.
time. You've only done, what, 4, 5, 6 races here? You've only done that
That's
many when some of these
my-
guys have done 9 almost.
It's only
with
my
this
third
season.
race in Tier 3. Of course, last season I did the one in Tier 1, so 4th ever league race.
Yeah, tell me about it. Outrunning a lot of these guys. I mean, you can see the goat comments in
Amazing.
chat over there. It is amazing, and you're starting to get used to the racing stuff more often. I mean, back in Germany, you were just. I'm gonna be honest here. You were spinning out almost every
Yeah.
second you could. You'll admit it. Oh, I forgot to turn. I forgot to brake. This type of stuff.
yep.
Back in
Oops.
Germany, back in March. Tell me how much you've kind of progressed under this next F1 game, and just how much has Axe been helping you.
Well, not gonna lie, it's not really been Axe, it's been more other people. You, for example, raced with my team, obviously. They've helped me improve the most, I'd say. Axe has helped a little bit, but not as much as people would think, actually.
So, P6 right there, your best ever result. I mean, you did the race in LDRL. You battled Aaron Ocon. I mean, people can't sit here and say, this was luck, this was luck. No, this was actual skill. How do you feel about, again, a P6 finish for you, your best ever result, and it coming out your home race as well, and a wet race as well?
Huh, yeah. It's incredible, honestly. I thought I was gonna fall back way farther once I picked up that penalty, but then Patriot, he was race engineering me. He joined in once someone left, so after I got my penalty, a ton of other people kept picking up warnings of penalties, and that gave me more confidence, and I just kept going.
Well, I gotta ask you one more quick question before I let Sam ask any questions. You seem to get these wet conditions actually very well. I remember we practiced back in it was Hungary in the wet conditions. You were very well. I mean, obviously I was trying no traction, so obviously you beat me there. But
Yeah.
regardless, in that one, you practiced there. You did very well. You got used to the track so well. You qualified very well. It was your best qualifying result at the
Oh,
time
yeah.
back in Hungary. So you didn't race very well there after the issues you
Right.
had. But today you qualified P8, not in the wet, but P8 in the dry, and raced very well in the wet. What is it about the wet conditions with you and Axe? Because Axe was running very good in Singapore, running near a lot of drivers he wouldn't always run near in these dry conditions, but on the wet he ran near them. So how do you feel about running near a lot of guys you usually
Well,
think you'd run near?
I honestly don't know, because back when you're talking about Hungary in the wet, I was on the controller with the pad traction, so that helped a lot. But this race, I was on the wheel, so I honestly don't know how I did it. I just took it nice and slow through all the other corners. I braked early, basically, and just tried to keep the car straight.
Well, congratulations on a good finish. Your best finish
Thank you.
yet. Sam C, I'm sure you got a question.
Well, I remember being in a party with you the other day trying to help you with Will. How much? It's quite surprising to see how much you've improved, and but also the S's must have really helped. But what was the key to getting the good result today for you?
Well, as you mentioned in the party, learning wheel, that was like 2 days ago, right? I don't even
Yep.
know. It wasn't long ago at all. But the S's, I just took it slow. I know other people were pushing there, so I just let them catch up there, but then the rest of the corners I was able to get either a good entry or a good exit, and I just kept getting away and staying out in front.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyways, you deserve a round of applause for that one, though. Great race from you.
Thank
Best
you.
result. And I'm not saying Italy was lucky, but I'm saying no one can say it was luck, because it was actually based off of skill. You outraced a lot of people who I wouldn't expect you to. But just your 4th, 5th month in the game? I mean, technically.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's crazy enough. I want to also mention just something. This is not a question. This is just something I want to mention. Now with this 6th place finish, you now have 9 points. You're ahead of some people
Whoa.
points,
Oh, wow.
such as Meme Boy, Meme
Forgot
Boy,
about that.
Titan Iron Wolf, Burning Man, Evil Matrix,
Oh, wow.
and Vanquisher. You also had a Lost Trevi and Zig as well in points. You have more points than Zig.
Wow. Alright. Well, forgot about that, but alright. That's insane. Wow.
Well, congratulations on that, and well-deserved finish for sure. All right,
Thank
well,
you.
Samseed, let's talk about that race for a minute. Those changeable conditions, something we didn't think we'd see. I didn't think we'd see the heavy rain not be as effective as it was, but you could tell a lot of people are sliding back and forth. But overall, I wouldn't say it was the best race this season. Of course, no one can say that, but I definitely say it's up there for decent races.
Yeah, it was obviously one of the better races of the season. The changeable conditions, it reminds me of Germany Tier 1. You've got to be on the right tyre at the right time, really. And I think the soft winters was really the right call.
Yeah, I mean, so much stuff just matters, and just these right conditions, the right stuff like that. You know, I was gonna say as well. Shout out to Raptor, 19th to 4th. How did he do that? Great result by him.
Yep, very much so. So, I think he must have been running a wet setup clearly, and some may not have been, but you know, I don't know who was running a wet setup or a dry setup. It would be quite interesting to know, obviously, but yeah. I think some were running a dry setup. As you could see, they were struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think you could tell, especially with people like King V Mafia, I think he was running a dry setup as well. I don't think he really prepared as much as the other drivers, as the other reserves, or whoever prepared for this race. I feel bad for Thrasher as well. I know Toro Rosso get the Constructors Championship, but he lagged out twice. Every time he went to pit lane, he lagged out, and he still got some points out of it, which is good enough. But you know what? If I was Thrasher, I'd be really mad or fix my connection, whatever the problem is, because that must feel really bad as well to have that happen, because you said that to anyone with that kind of connection and that just kind of stuff that happens, because he was in contention to probably get a possible P3 or P4. You just don't know.
I know, like, the first time you think it could be a coincidence or something, but I'm not sure if he needed to really pit then. But then I'm not sure if he did know that the glitch was a real problem. But I don't know. I don't think we will know why that happened, and I don't think I've ever seen that. Every time he goes into pit lane, he lags out.
That's just weird. I've never seen that, but interesting as well. Bianchi was back from the back of the grid as well as a lot of other people too. That I want to mention, but Bianchi recovered after the drive-thru to finish 8th. A good podium for Tommy Karate, and I want to say as well, Ollie Mason as well, coming back on wheel, coming back. He might be even stronger at Brazil if he gets more used to that wheel. Might be able to win. Honestly, who knows? It'll be interesting. Well, you saw a back and forth race, a race that was undefining of what tire, what mattered the most. It was reminding me of Germany, which Germany was one of the better Tier 1 races, but just a mini Germany. I wouldn't say as necessarily as good, but I'd say definitely close to that level for sure. And we'll have to watch what happens in Brazil. We have no championship on the line for Tier 3 at Brazil, but we do have a championship on the line tomorrow for constructors and drivers. Sam, there's Mercedes trying to win the constructors, and as well as Kagoda and Pluto, 24 points between each other. They're still within the championship battle. Who will get the advantage, and who will take that? Who all survives in USA tomorrow?
I'm not 100% sure what will happen tomorrow, but for Tier 3 next week going into Brazil, we could see Dominant Square get its first podium. That would be amazing if that happens, and it would be so great to see that happening. And maybe next F1 game, if he gets used to Will, he could be up there.
It all depends on how much the pad is nerfed, or what happens with wheel. I mean, it all depends. I mean, you got to really think about everything in consideration. I mean, some people do better on wheel, some people do better on pad. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Boker usually does better on pad, but I know GSR Luck from Tier 2 and Square, you could clearly see they do better on wheel. It's a different variety of things, but you could tell on the web for that for sure. I don't know what it is with the bonfires over there. I mean, that's pretty cool to see. Both of them. Axe in conditions in Singapore was doing very well on the podium at one point. He looked like if those conditions stayed that way, he could have been a contender for that podium, but it just wasn't really meant to be at the time. And as well as Square, an amazing result today. You know, you can maybe say Italy was off of luck because of the chaos, and I'm sure you can probably agree, Sam. Maybe Italy was off of some luck to get P10 at least, but today you cannot deny that was not luck whatsoever. That was actual skill that Square put into the game, put practice into this race, and got P4 and P6 for Renault with Raptor and him.
I mean, even with Italy, he had lap 1 troubles. It wasn't straightforward for him that race, so you can't just say it's all luck. He had to pit for front wing damage on lap
True.
1. He had a straight 5-second penalty from a VSC incident. It wasn't straightforward for him in Italy, 100%.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely take back, you know, I mean, all the chaos kind of ensued there, you know, some DNF, some guys going out, some guys, you know, gave the free positions. He took advantage of that, you know, but, you know, again, like you said, you know, he had trouble, so you can't all blame it on luck. I mean, still, I mean, it was still massively credited with both sides of it. But regardless, come to watch in Tier 2 tomorrow. You know, I'll have to see what goes on. Tier 2 tomorrow. Polo Guy joins me for that. I'll have to find out what goes on in Tier 2 tomorrow. We're back at USA. Any predictions for tomorrow, Sam?
I think Pluto could win, to be honest. And the championship could go into the final race. And I think that's what everyone wants to see. One title decider at least going into the final race. I want to see it. I reckon a lot of the Tier 2 drivers want to see it. And a lot of the other neutrals do as well.
For me, I think Mercedes can get another one too, but don't count out Pluto. There's no way you can count out Pluto. He's so good in these races, and the problem is, you have so many competitive drivers in Tier 2, you just don't know what could happen. Tier 2, you can kind of predict who's on that podium or who's running up front, but you just can't predict the order of it. You can't predict the guys who are necessarily there. You can sit here and predict, okay, well, Kagoda will win the race tomorrow, Beatnik will be second, Pluto will be third. But are you going to get the order right? No. You might get Kagoda on the podium, but you might only get one of the 3 on the podium. That's just the way Tier 2 is. We saw last week, Kagoda wasn't on the podium. It was Milo, Pluto, Complete Tripod. Pluto came back after lap 1. You don't know what can happen tomorrow. The race tomorrow should be dry, from the looks of it. So, if you didn't know, it's going to be dry tomorrow. We'll have to find out what goes on. I also want to watch out tomorrow for Beatnik as well and Kagoda both. Those 2 Mercedes drivers. They could lock up the constructors, and Kagoda as well finished 5th place in this race last season after all the drama that happened. I mean, some part of it luck, but the fact him staying in that position and, you know, gaining the time he did, fair enough. He did what he could. And Beatnik as well. Beatnik, this is a home race for him. I believe he won here in HLFRF2, I want to say, Sam. Am I correct in that? I want to say he did.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, it could be a good bit of practice, but there's nowhere near the competitiveness in there as ARL Tier 2, so he's going to have a whole load more challenges.
That is true. We'll have to find out what goes on tomorrow. Join us 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK for that race tomorrow. Hey, no graphics, but you know what? Something different, I'm telling you. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in the USA. We'll have to see what goes on tomorrow for the second to last race of the season, the penultimate round, Tier 2, tomorrow evening, 12 Eastern, 5 p.m. UK. You do not want to miss it. This championship battle between Kagoda, Pluto is still going on. It's who's going to get the advantage. We'll have to find out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.